Hello, Thursday. First snip is from Credit Write-Downs. United States of America, percentage change for 12 months, ended January 2012. So we've got the 2011 Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, selected components not seasonally adjusted. They don't need to be, it's over the year. And what components, parts of the CPI have been going up and what has been going down to make the CPI over the 2011 period what it was, and what it was 2.9. First, there on the left. Food went up 4.4. Dairy related products seems to be apart from food, 9. Energy 6.1. Gasoline 9.7, new vehicles 3.2, used cars and trucks 3.2, apparel 4.7. That's quite a big up for apparel. Apparel doesn't normally go up. Shelter down at 2. Medical care 3.6, which seems a bit low, but can't argue with them. They're the official people. And that makes for all items 2.9. So we can imagine that 2 of shelter is a big weighting within that CPI, all those little units. Yeah, in other words, the 2 of shelter is a really big hitter, and it can balance out the dairy related products and gasoline up at 9 to make the all items at 2.9. Now, written above is, I snipped it a bit, but it reads enough. Components are above the 10-year Treasury yield. That's some financial repression, squiggle, exclamation mark. Financial repression. We know it from Reinhardt and Rogoff as how they got out of the debts of the world wars. And it just seemed too easy, obvious and simplistic that they would do it again, or that they could do it again. But it looks like they're at least trying to do it again. So we've got our price inflation around 3, and that was for 2011, which was a reasonable year for gas prices. This I've snipped from Financial Times Alphaville, and this is a SocGen analyst writing in a light and airy sort of way, but what he's writing actually has quite a lot of clout. Just taken out of the middle of a longer article. But can I please ask whoever runs my pension pot not to asset locate me out of equities just now, thanks. We live in a ZERP world, highlighted by the Bank of Japan, telling us that they will keep rates at 0 until inflation's back at 1%, something which it hasn't managed, besides an artificial blip caused by hiking consumption tax, for 19 years. Yeah, Japan's kept under 1%. On this basis, the Bank of Japan will have 0 rates even after the Fed and ECB have started hiking. Bond markets have slowly and steadily embraced the notion of really low rates for a really long time, and they have accumulated strong returns on the way, and that was lovely. That was lovely. Those are the capital gains that you get if you buy a 10-year Treasury, and the rates since you bought it have come down. That means the price has gone up. You've made a capital gain if you sell your Treasury. That was lovely. But as we got from PIMCO the other day, those capital gains have gone away now. The upside of owning bonds is negligible. All you've got now is inflation risk and default risk, and a very low interest rate. So this analyst don't want nothing to do with it. So where do you go? Equities, according to him, because he can't think of anything else. But from here, bond market returns are about as attractive as following a plague of locust across a field of corn, which sums up his sentiments. Right, this is a bit tricky for me. I've just started looking into it. I will look into it more and report back, because I know of 3 sites now that this chart has popped up on. Price markup over unit labour costs, non-farm business 1947-2011, ratio of prices to unit labour costs. Now I think what it is how much you pay for the labour in your factory, let's say, to how much you can actually sell what they're making for. And where that rises after the 2000 recession, the dot-com crash, and has risen again since the latest Great Recession, is because they've driven down wages, as we got yesterday or the day before, to the lowest they're paying as part of the running of a company since God's dog was a pup. But they can still sell at a high price, but a reasonable price to cover costs. But the main reason they can do it because they've driven down wages, and that's what this is. It's been basically flat from 1947 to the dot-com crash, and ever since then wages have been screwed down, and then at this Great Recession wages have been screwed down again. Now I'll read from underneath there, because I've put it there, I must mean to read it. I want to make the point that this is consistent with my long-term thesis that we are returning to an environment where productivity gains do not accrue to unskilled labour because they are embedded in the brains of the innovators. And when that unskilled labour isn't just your clud pulling a lever and pushing a button, that's right across the board until you get to the board or top management. There's no need to pay the regular people any more than the minimum you can get away with. And later in the writing for this, what this chart hides, but I also believe is true, that capital is facing a similar collapse. In other words, the working middle class is going to get wiped by this because they will not get the wages. And the similar thing is going to happen to actual money. What this chart hides, but I believe is also true, is that capital is facing a similar collapse. At its heart, the issue is that industrialization really was different. That has gone. And there is no reason to think it will come again. The reality of this new world is that you cannot simply work hard and make a good living, nor should you expect that if you save for the future you can support yourself. The middle class cannot expect any sort of a decent wage, and neither can they expect any sort of a decent return on their savings. Ouch. Because that middle class is a great big percent of all Western populations. And I might return to that tomorrow, we'll see. I'm kind of mulling it over in my head. I'm getting some macro thinking going on. Anyway, we'll get towards the finish with Bloomberg. Icelandic anger brings debt forgiveness in best recovery story. Icelanders who pelted parliaments with rock in 2009 demanding their leaders and bankers answer for the country's economic and financial collapse are reaping the benefits of their anger. Since the end of 2008, the island's banks have forgiven loans equivalent to 13% of GDP, easing the debt burdens of more than a quarter of the population, according to some report. And it's done the economy no end of good. But that is probably only possible in a small place like Iceland. Whether it would work in the bigger world or not is hard to say. But are we going to this now? Yeah, I'll go to this one now because I can kind of flow into this. So number whatever it is, Eltro, we know all about Eltro now. Its big success in reopening wholesale markets, bank raised lots of money and everything's fine. Basically, that's what that chart says in Europe. And the segue into this from Iceland is that the bankers and the banking system have won. All the manipulations of over the last 4 years have basically worked for the banks. They have shown that their blackmail completely works. They have shown their power, that they can say, if we fall over, you fall over, to whoever is asking, normally government. They have to be protected. They were protected. Their accounting is still protecting them. They are still broken, but they are completely and utterly propped up by what is, I'm finding out, an almost infinitesimally elastic system. The money system is infinitesimally elastic when you've got central banks that can just basically magic up trillions of money. And it really, really helps and really, really works. The main economies of the West are almost inviolable. They can't be harmed in a normal working system. As long as the world doesn't go completely crazy, their economies will hold together. Advanced economies will hold together. There's almost nothing that can touch them. They're not based on anything solid, so they can't be knocked over. They are based on the elasticity, the smoke of money. And money can be wafted in to come in and fill up all the holes. Those are advanced economies, like the United States, United Kingdom, Europe. Greece wasn't an advanced economy. That's why the smoke can't fill its cracks. It wasn't advanced. It hasn't gone from bricks of industrialization up into the smoke and mirrors category. Japan is showing what you can do because it went to smoke and mirrors, and it can hold together, although it is in a complete basket case. But it's really pushing it. Japan is really pushing it. Do I have anything more? Yeah, I'll just give you this because I'll come back to this tomorrow if I do a video tomorrow, and I do more thinking on this. One thing that cannot be smoke and mirrors, even for the Western nations and their money smoke, is energy and energy pricing and energy availability. You can't print energy. Lots of people are saying that, this is from a Mish blog that I've carved and put these two together, that the price of oil is going up because the dollar is going down. Mish has got these two charts that I've, as I say, put together. The bottom chart, the red trickle down at the start, down from 2001 to 2005, the dollar was going down. And in the top chart, oil was going up. But since, bottom chart again, blue line starting serrated, dotted, 2005 till now, the dollar is effectively flat. 2005 till 2012, that's 6 or 7 years, the dollar is flat. But the top chart, 2005 to 2012, 6 or 7 years, the price of WTI is going up at about 30 degrees. That sort of bricks and mortar solid reality can cut into an advanced Western economy, that it can generally sort all other things out with smoky money. I'll leave that with you, and hopefully more thoughts will settle for tomorrow and I'll come back to it. See you there. Bye.